To be young, gifted, and black. That was amazing. I am so honored and happy to have Ahmir here tonight. And moderating the conversation is a badass sister girl and friend, Waka Onwusa, who's vice president and chief curator at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Give it up to Waka. And ladies and gentlemen, please give a Martha's Vineyard welcome to first-time director, and we know we love him, Mr. Ahmir Questlove.
Thank you. Thank you.
My goodness. Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I feel bad because there was a really good Easter egg at the end of the credits, but because I guess the projectionists didn't know, you guys kind of missed a really good Stevie Wonder joke at the very end of the credits. But to let you know, it's on Hulu, so you could watch the last 2 minutes that you just missed. But how you doing?
Oh my God, I am doing. How are you doing?
I'm great.
Great. And
I'm
how
great.
are you all doing? Wasn't this film just absolutely stunning? So I know we have a short amount of time tonight, so I just really want to get into it. So before I fangirl, we'll do what the people want to know at the end. We'll save that. But for this film, how did you come in contact and how did you understand or learn about the Harlem Cultural Festival?
Okay, so I unknowingly found out about it, or at least the first time it came into my radar. The Roots were touring in Japan, and my translator at the label said, you know, with your afro, you remind me of Don Cornelius, and I'm going to take you to a restaurant. I'm going to take you to the Soul Train Cafe. And it's basically like a chain, like a Fridays, but it's called the Soul Train Cafe. And they would have all these monitors all over the wall of different, you know, like old clips or whatnot. And it was '97, so like YouTube culture wasn't a thing yet. So for me, like seeing old Soul Train clips, and I saw maybe like 2 minutes of the Sly the Family Stone footage, not knowing what I was watching. And, you know, I was kind of under the impression that obviously it looked like it was from the 60s, so I just naturally assumed that Sly was playing like maybe Montreux Jazz Festival or the Nice Jazz Festival or something like that. And it really wasn't until 20 years later, backstage at the Tonight Show, where my then assistant, who's part of my management team now, told me that these two gentlemen wanted to meet with me about this festival. And, you know, I just wanted to do a little bit of homework, so I said, okay, Black Woodstock, Harlem Cultural Festival. So I like Googled it, and nothing was on Google, so then I started calling like the usual suspects, like Nelson George, and notable New Yorkers in music, and they were all like, we never heard this. So I instantly became like suspicious. I thought like maybe these guys were just trying to like game me up for some Tonight Show tickets or something. And just instantly, they had 40 hours of footage and showed me like 5 minutes, and instantly all of my confident swagger of being like the know-it-all of music, like I felt this small because I was like, wait, like you guys stunned it on me. This is something that I never knew about. And then I got defensive. I'm like, wait, why do you want me to do it? You know? Yeah. Like, why trust someone that just got their learner's permit to drive an 18-wheeler across the country? And they said, like, you know, you're a natural storyteller. Like, by that point, I had written some books, and I was teaching NYU at the time. So apparently the world knew that I had the wherewithal to direct a movie except for me. I didn't know that. And so this film actually helped a lot with my personal growth and confidence. And that's the thing, I think it's hard for people to imagine that artists are very insecure. Like, I mean, I could see, like with comedians use humor as a defensive mechanism so that you don't see the pain that they're internalizing. And it's a lot, the artists are a lot that way. When you wonder about like why your favorite artists are always mired in trouble or have certain problems that they can't just obviously see that's a problem. Like if they were only blah, 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 you know, that sort of thing. So doing this film actually taught me a lot about myself as well as a human being. So it was very therapeutic, especially like the last year and a half in COVID, like trying to finish this thing, because we had a whole nother timeline of a story to tell. And, you know, it's almost like the fate or the universe wrote out exactly what was supposed to happen.
Exactly. I mean, the timing of it is just so significant with everything that we went through as a collective, you know, last year. I mean, to see some of the same things being reinterpreted. Well,
that's the thing. For me, initially, I just thought, okay, well, like, I know my mom's generation and like our grandparents' generation are instantly going to know this. And I'm Generation X, so of course, like, I come from a household where, like, you know who Gladys Knight and the Pips are, and you know who Marilyn McCoo. Even if you don't know the Fifth Dimension, like, you know Solid Gold, or you know that
Let the Sun Shine In.
Yeah, Lamont. What's his name is the Jet Beauty of the Week guy. You know, like, you know the history of things. But I was wondering, like, how am I going to reach millennials and Gen Z? And I think at the beginning we were trying to figure out, like, okay, well, so do we get younger people to do commentary or that sort of thing? I was like, all right, I gotta call Drake or, you know, Beyonce or someone, like someone under the age of 40 to like bring young people in. But then when 2020 happened, I realized that, oh, the thing that's going to connect millennials and Gen Z is the fact that they see the exact mirroring of what happened 50 years ago happen to them right now. And that's what, you know. Yeah.
So powerful. And I think you did it so well. So this is not your first time, obviously, like you said, dabbling in film and working on the films, but what was it about this film that you felt like, okay, you already mentioned, like, I learned so much about myself. So how was it when you said, okay, I need to step into these shoes as the director, I'm doing this, this is mine. What was that moment for you, and when did you know you had to direct this?
I'll say for a good 5 months, I was trying to matrix bullet dodge this responsibility. Like, you know, called, you know, I actually told them, like, you know, let me just be an executive. Because at the time when they presented it to me, you know, we had our hands also in like Hamilton, which at the time was like super red hot. Like they approached me like in 2016. And I was like, look, just let me be that's my role. Let me be executive producer. And I won't just stamp my name on it. Like I'll be Ronald McDonald. You guys can be Ray Kroc. Like I'll be the face of it, whatever. And I'm glad you guys got that reference. And I don't know. I think I forgot who told me. I think at the time, maybe my girlfriend had told me, like, you know, this isn't about you. Like, you're given a rare chance to like restore history. And so this is not about like your deflated ego. Because the thing is, like, I'm really neurotic when it comes to like projects I do, and everything has to be critically acclaimed, and you know, all that sort of thing. And you know, this is past that, and which is weird because like of anything I've done, like this, I've never gotten like across the board like straight A's and perfect, you know, reviews and all those things. And normally, like with Roots albums or any other project we have our hands in, like I'm reading every paragraph, I'm ready to have my rebuttal letter to Pitchfork, like, motherfucker. Like, and this is probably the first time in which I read like the New York Times review, and then I didn't want to get caught up in the, that thing.
Yes.
So it's beyond just like making something for that approval. Like for me, this was about restoring our story, which was more important than anything. So,
yes. Thank you. Well, thank you for doing it, because truly, I don't think any other artist could have done it the way that you did. What were some of the things that you wish you could have put in the film that are not?
Well, here's the thing. My first draft was 3 hours and 25 minutes. And the thing is that, the original Woodstock film was also 3 hours.
Yes.
So this was a rare situation in which, well, first of all, I had 40 hours of footage. Yeah. So I had to, once I made up my mind to sit with that 40 hours of footage, what I did was I put everything on MPEG-4s and just constantly on my hard drive had a system in which every television in the house would constantly just show footage. Because when you just think of 40 hours, it's overwhelming. Like, oh, I got to sit here and take notes. I didn't want to do it that way. So just for 5 months, television in the living room, one in the kitchen, one in the bedroom. I had a monitor in my bathroom, had it in my studio, at the Tonight Show, like wherever I went, on my phone. Just constantly had it running. And even if I was asleep, it was constantly playing. It was like my own aquarium or something like that. Like it was always there. And if I saw anything interesting, I just took notes down. And then once I wanted goosebump moments, and that was probably one of the first challenges was with the music. Do you go for the hits, or do you go for if you see magic? Yes. Now in the case of Stevie Wonder, it was like, wow, the real magic's in Shooby Doo Da Day, but he also does like My Cherie Amour, and he does his big giant hits. But for me, I wanted goosebump moments, and so. Also, the way that I plan things, I always plan things backwards. My first thought is, what do I want the audience to feel in the last 10 minutes, like walking away once the show's over? So for me, the last 10 minutes of anything, of a DJ gig, of a Roots show, or any show I'm curating, or this, I wanted to know what's my ending. And I knew instantly that my intro was going to be that drum solo, because I knew that there was maybe some expectation for me to insert myself in the film some way.
Yes, right. Okay.
So kind of in that internet meme, like show me that you're a drummer director without being in your own film.
Yes.
So I figured that was my wink and nod that, okay, of course I'm going to start with the drum solo. But initially, my first cut, the ending was going to be the summit meeting with Mavis and Mahalia. But it felt, and this was pre 2020.
Okay.
It was an all right ending, but it felt like a Hollywood ending. And when we got to like May of 2020, like in the heat of the protest and all those things, I was just like, I wish there was something that really like set you on fire in the last 10 minutes. And then my producer Joseph Patel said, well, why don't we switch places, and instead of putting Nina at the center, let's put her at the end, and let's put Mavis and Mahalia at the center. And then suddenly, like, this film took on a whole new trajectory, and literally that's when I saw the vision of, okay, now we have a film. We have a beginning, a middle, and
I mean, so many historic goosebump moments. Like you said, the Mavis and Mahalia moment is so magical. Yeah. I mean, that's the beauty of, I love film and photography. I mean, this is truly the visual evidence that this shit happen. Like, this really happened in our time. So to end it with the Priestess of Soul, Nina Simone, I think you hit it right on the head with that. I think we all agree.
Yeah.
I mean, to have Young, Gifted, and Black, the premiere of that song happen in Harlem.
That's the first time the world's hearing it.
Ever.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, that was such a beautiful way to end that.
Her entire set, 45-minute set, and everything was flawless because she too was finding her pivot, which was more social commentation and less lounge jazz songs, less Porgy and Bess stuff. So she too, I mean, 1969 was a paradigm shift. So for me, to let her have the last word, I felt was sort of indicative of what 2020 was. Like, I wanted Nina Simone's voice to be like that last voice that you remember in the film.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's so powerful. Well, thank you. That that curation was absolutely perfect. So one of the things, we got to jump to today, the contemporary. So obviously we have the hypotheticals of what would your Summer of Soul festival be. I had an opportunity to
I got in trouble
the
the last time this
you got
question
in
was
trouble?
happening.
If you don't know what's going on, go Google it.
Let me rewrite that narrative.
Okay.
I did not get in trouble for that. You know.
Yes. Yes. But
Yeah.
Google it. It's the baby, and we have this whole drama going on with that young man. But so now that you've rewritten and scratched him off of the set list, and looking at Summer of Soul, because you've laid a foundation and planted this seed for Summer of Soul, what it means today, what it meant to the past.
Right.
How do you see yourself moving this story forward? Is this the last of Summer of Soul that we'll see?
Well, you know, as far as off the screen, the roots, the thing was we had moved when our second album, Do You Want More, came out. We had actually, we exiled to Europe. We lived in London for a good 3 to 4 years on and off. Really, we were just touring the world, but that was our hub. And, you know, at the time in '94, festival culture really wasn't a thing.
Yeah.
It was only like Lollapalooza, maybe like an occasional Farm Aid. But over in Europe, and we moved over there because like there were 700 festivals over there. So we were like, yo, whenever we get home or if we ever blow up, like we're gonna bring the festival to the United States. So for like the last 13 years, we've been throwing the Roots Picnic in our hometown of Philly. I'm happy to say that we finalized well, God willing, we don't know what the future holds health-wise, but we're going to throw one next year, the summer of 2022.
Amazing. Amazing.
However, as far as extras and whatnot, you guys have really only seen 17% of this movie, like of the music, and there's a way more. As I said, like cutting 90 minutes out of this film was like one of the most painful things ever. But there was too much goosebump moments. So we're definitely. Someone said part 2.
Yes. Right. We need it. We need it. Yeah.
Since I'm a master manifester, I do have a bucket list of doing a Criterion Collection version, which is like for film nerds. Maybe I can include the original cut in there, and which is a lot of gems that you guys will be into.
That'll be amazing.
Yeah.
We love that.
Thank
so now that DaBaby is off the list, though, who would you replace him with? I have to know. The people need to know.
Well, after last night, we're playing with her. I'll put her back in.
Oh.
I gotta say that, I mean, to watch her, I've seen a few concerts, go to Grammys or whatever. She performed at the Oscars, whatnot. But to actually play with her, and I don't want to sound like it's such a cliche for like a guy in his 50s to be like, yeah, I feel like the future's in good hands. But you know, I really, I felt. I don't know that, you know, that moment in Purple Rain where he finally reaches the audience and they're all in the audience like, yeah,
Yes.
yeah. So last night on stage I was drumming and I was like, yeah. Me and the Roots kept looking at each other like, yeah, okay, like she's awesome. I love her to death. So
Amazing.
yeah.
All right, so we got the baby with her. I love it. That's
Yes.
an amazing replacement. Amazing. So, wanting to get to some things because studying this Harlem Cultural Festival, Tony Lawrence, our very colorful host.
Yeah.
You know, there's a mystery, a mystique behind him. Mystery, mystique, scandal, all sorts of things. So what?
I will say that of all the unanswered questions, that's one. You know, first of all, his name is Tony Lawrence. So when we did a search, there's like 23,000 in the system.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I tried everything. Even my girlfriend's mother used to work for the government, like called her connects to see if we could find him. I think we lost track of him after 1986, he went somewhere in the islands. And once you're in the islands, you're just off the grid. So.
Yeah.
But I'm hoping, I'm the only one that's like holding out for like,
Yes.
you know, that he'll mysteriously show up and get to see what his dream, like the audacity to actually dream of something and to see it happen.
Yes.
That was like one of the biggest lessons that I learned about myself. The fact that you can, if your heart really believes in something. And, you know, previously I used to be my life was always like the snarky guy, the two guys that used to be on the Muppet shows, Statler and Waldorf.
Yes.
Yeah, Waldorf and Statler, like always having something snarky to say when someone comes in like all confident and, you know, that sort of thing. And I realized that, you know, a lot of us, especially for black people, like we're almost trained to think small, to think humble, to think not ask for much, to be polite, to be docile, and that sort of thing. And now I'm realizing, like, thank God I learned it at 50. I wish I knew this at 30, that what I saw as arrogance or being overconfident or conceited, I'm trying to rewrite that narrative. Like, I have a lot of dreams that I want to manifest. So, yeah. So, yeah, just to see Tony Lawrence have a dream and to actually bring it to fruition is that's the lesson.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, even beyond the film, too, or not beyond the film, but beyond the festival, the 6 dates that he had, he actually toured Harlem Cultural Festival. It went to Puerto Rico, and he had shows down there.
I have some footage from there was, I think in 67 or 68, there was a show in Jersey.
Yes, in Newark.
Yeah.
Yes.
I have some footage from there as well.
Oh,
And
nice.
yeah,
There's so much, like you said, there's so much content, but I think even just to understand, like you said, how big he dreamed to travel this, to have this festival go on. I mean, there's a beautiful headline. It's September '69. They're talking about Woodstock and the financial frenzy and all of the audits going on with that. But there's something that you said in an interview that I thought was so powerful, talking about when your predator becomes, or your protector becomes your predator.
Right.
And looking at how he just, you know, despite all of the, you know, all the mystery and the mystique behind it, how he controlled that event, having community lead it. Now, when you're thinking about maybe the future of, if you do a Summer of Soul festival, having that foundation and thinking big, he made that a free event for the community. Do you see yourself bringing that back to Harlem?
You're putting me on the spot right now.
I am. Look, the people want to know.
No, tickets are $775. No. You know, for the most part, even with the Roots,
Yeah.
like your average festival, like when you're going to Coachella or whatever, those tickets are like $300 to $400.
Yeah.
Even now, with all of our events we show, we try to get a lot of festival like sponsors and whatnot, because you know, we're still probably the only major festival, at least bringing you the A level. I mean, I don't want to judge like, okay, you're an A-list artist and you're a C-list artist, whatever, but one that brings those caliber artists like Dave Chappelle, like you know, Migos or The Weeknd, or you know, all the acts that we've managed to bring to the table. Most of our tickets are under $100, which is really unheard of.
Yeah.
Like, it's not a profit thing for us.
Yes.
We just like to cover cost and really just give something back to our city of Philadelphia. We've done a Roots picnic in New York as well, so hopefully this will open the door for us to do it national. Yeah.
Amazing, amazing. Well, we have about 5 minutes left.
Can I say something to Walt? I've done this maybe 5 to 6 times, like done not public screenings, but normally when you do a film, you do focus groups, you do screenings and whatnot, and you gauge audience reaction. But because of COVID, like, you know, I'll say that 95% of this was on instinct and on our laptops. So even while editing the film, like, I never got to see it on a big screen until after we were done, like, doing sound mixing. But even in having done screenings for audience, I've done this maybe 5 or 6 times, I have to say that this was probably my favorite experience in watching the film. Yeah. And I know it's typical, like, I'm calling BS. You are, you know, I was in Cleveland last night, but tonight in Detroit, you're the best artist. No, it's not. Right.
Yes, hey Cleveland, there we go.
No, I'm just saying that you guys managed to react to things that I didn't even think that would hit the mark or whatnot. And, you know, it's just different than when you're at a screening in Beverly Hills, or, you know, if you're at a press junket. Like, this is the first time that I heard the reactions I wanted to hear. So this actually
beautiful.
made me see the film in a new light. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, you know, you truly, you hit the mark. I mean, we're thankful for you just taking on this challenge and doing this for us, for all of us. It was a healing, I have to say. I mean, just all of these performances, they meant so much. So, some other questions, the public, we have for you, not with the film, but records to date. We have to ask, are you still collecting? How many do you have?
Okay, so my girlfriend and I just got, one of our pandemic moves was, we're like, okay, we're leaving Manhattan. We're getting a farm. We want space.
Yes.
We want, you know, acres so that, you know, I'm going over the run, you go over there. Like, couples need space. You can't maintain, I'm sorry, like, Manhattan seems nice and ideal, but it's like, it's hard for relationships to maintain where you're inside of a sardine can.
Yes.
But I'll say that I also wanted, I'm up to almost 200,000 records now.
Wow.
So, but it's also like, my level of acquirement is different now. Like, I kind of miss the days where it's just like, you know, I'll go to a used record store and see something that wows me. Now, because everyone knows that I collect vinyl, it's more like this college in Richmond, Virginia, is getting rid of their jazz station, so maybe 75,000 records might go to the trash or go somewhere, so they'll just call me up like, you know, I got 30,000 pieces of this thing, or you know, a lot of times, old 45 records, there'll be like dealers in, that have warehouses of these things. They used to service them for jukeboxes and bars. a lot of them are dying out. Their widows don't know what to do with it. So,
Right.
yeah, you want to, 18,045s. Like, how many Billie Jeans do I need?
Right.
So, yes, it's 200,000 records, but it's also like I have at least 200 Billie Jean 45s I don't need. So, like, that sort of thing. So.
Well, if you ever need a repository, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame will take them. So just saying that on stage.
Okay.
Ahmir, thank you so much for giving us this gift, for uncovering this history. Again, a round of applause.
Thank you.
Summer of Soul, everyone.
Thank you.
Streaming on Hulu.
Thank you.
Sir, much love to you. Thank you so much. And everyone, have a lovely night, a soulful
Thank you guys
night.
for having me.
Yes. Thank
See
you,
you, Lynn.
Marcus
See you,
Vineyard
Gracie.
African American Film Festival. Thank you.
Thank you so much.